Right now, somewhere in the ocean, a nuclear submarine is hiding, and no one knows exactly where it is. But what if that's no longer true? Submarines, often referred to as part of the silent service, represent one of the most formidable instruments of national power ever devised. Their defining advantage lies not in speed or firepower alone, but in their ability to remain unseen, unheard, and therefore unpredictable. This unique combination of stealth and lethality has elevated submarines into a central role within global deterrence frameworks, particularly among nuclear-armed states. Yet, as technological innovation accelerates across multiple domains, a fundamental question is emerging. Are submarines truly as undetectable as they once were, or is their invisibility slowly being eroded? To understand this evolving dynamic, one must first appreciate why submarines have historically been so difficult to detect. The answer lies in a convergence of engineering, physics, and tactical doctrine. From the earliest days of submarine warfare, designers recognized that survival depended on minimizing every possible signature: acoustic, magnetic, thermal, and even hydrodynamic. Over decades, this principle has driven continuous innovation, resulting in vessels that are astonishingly quiet and extraordinarily difficult to track. For decades, the greatest threat to any submarine wasn't missiles. It was noise. Even a tiny vibration could give away its position and mean destruction. Consequently, modern submarines are engineered with extreme attention to reducing sound emissions. Their hulls are often coated with specialized anechoic materials, rubber-like tiles designed to absorb sonar waves rather than reflect them. Internally, machinery is mounted on vibration dampening systems to prevent mechanical noise from propagating into the surrounding water. Even the design of propellers, or increasingly pump-jet propulsion systems, has been refined to eliminate cavitation, the formation of tiny bubbles that collapse noisily and reveal a vessel's position. Beyond materials, propulsion technology has undergone a quiet revolution. Traditional mechanical systems, with their numerous moving parts, inherently generate noise. In response, newer submarines are incorporating advanced electric propulsion architectures, sometimes referred to as integrated electric propulsion systems. These systems convert energy into electricity, which then powers the vessel more smoothly and with fewer mechanical disturbances. Some designs even eliminate the conventional drive shaft entirely, replacing it with rim-driven systems that significantly reduce vibration. The result is a platform that can move through the water with an acoustic signature so faint that it blends into the ambient noise of the ocean itself. But here's the problem. No matter how quiet a submarine becomes, it can never be completely silent. However, sound is only one dimension of detectability. Submarines must also contend with their magnetic signature. Because most submarine hulls are constructed from metal, traditionally steel, though increasingly incorporating alloys like titanium, they interact with the Earth's magnetic field. This interaction creates subtle distortions that can, under the right conditions, be detected by sensitive instruments. To mitigate this, submarines undergo a process known as degaussing, which reduces their magnetic footprint. Yet, even with such measures, complete elimination of magnetic signatures remains impossible. It is a reminder that in the realm of stealth, perfection is always asymptotic. Approached, but never fully achieved. Equally important is the submarine's ability to exploit the physical properties of the ocean itself. The sea is not a uniform medium. It is layered, dynamic, and influenced by variations in temperature, salinity, and pressure. These factors affect how sound travels underwater, creating complex acoustic environments that can either reveal or conceal a submarine. One of the most significant phenomena in this context is the SOFAR channel, a layer in the ocean where sound speed reaches a minimum, allowing acoustic waves to travel vast distances with minimal loss of energy. By carefully positioning themselves within or near such layers, submarines can reduce their detectability while still maintaining situational awareness. This interplay between technology and environment is further enhanced by tactical doctrine. Submarine crews are trained to operate in ways that minimize exposure. They often travel at slow speeds to reduce noise, avoid shallow waters where detection is easier, and take advantage of geographic features such as underwater ridges or trenches. In essence, the ocean becomes not just a medium of movement, but a strategic ally, a vast, three-dimensional space that can be used to obscure, deceive, and evade. Submarines have become incredibly difficult to detect. That's where things get interesting, because the hunt for them has evolved just as quickly. Despite these advantages, the task of detecting submarines has never been abandoned. On the contrary, it has driven some of the most sophisticated developments in military technology. For decades, sonar, sound navigation and ranging, has been the primary tool for anti-submarine warfare. Passive sonar systems listen for the faint noises emitted by submarines, while active sonar systems emit sound pulses and analyze the echoes that return. Each approach has its strengths and limitations. Passive sonar is stealthy, but increasingly challenged by the growing quietness of modern submarines and the noisy complexity of coastal environments. Active sonar, while more effective in some scenarios, carries the inherent risk of revealing the position of the vessel using it. Traditional sonar is no longer enough, and this changes everything. Modern navies are now building entire networks of sensors. Recognizing these limitations, modern naval forces have adopted a multi-layered approach to submarine detection. Aircraft such as maritime patrol planes and helicopters deploy sonar buoys, floating sensors that monitor underwater sounds across wide areas. These platforms may also carry magnetic anomaly detection (MAD) systems, which can identify disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field caused by submerged metal objects. While effective, MAD systems typically operate at relatively short ranges, requiring precise positioning to be useful. In recent years, the emergence of unmanned systems has added a new dimension to this effort. Unmanned underwater vehicles, UUVs, and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, can operate as part of distributed sensor networks, continuously monitoring vast stretches of ocean. These systems can share data in real time, creating a more comprehensive picture of undersea activity. The concept is no longer to rely on a single sensor or platform, but to integrate multiple sources of information into a cohesive anti-submarine ecosystem. At the same time, space-based technologies are beginning to play an increasingly significant role. Satellites equipped with radar and infrared sensors can detect subtle anomalies on the ocean's surface, patterns of waves, temperature variations, or disturbances caused by objects moving below. While these methods are not yet definitive on their own, they contribute valuable data that can be correlated with other sources to improve detection accuracy. Sonar has dominated for decades, but the real shift is happening somewhere else. Scientists are now trying to detect submarines without sound at all. These methods seek to identify submarines not by the sounds they make, but by the physical effects they have on their environment. For instance, a moving submarine can create minute changes in water temperature by mixing layers of different temperatures. It can also generate surface waves, particularly when operating at shallow depths or higher speeds. Even the flow of water around the submarine's hull, the so-called boundary layer, can disturb microscopic marine organisms, some of which emit light when agitated. This phenomenon, known as bioluminescence, has been studied as a potential means of detection, particularly from aerial or space-based platforms. Another promising avenue is the use of blue-green laser technology. Unlike most forms of electromagnetic radiation, which are quickly absorbed by seawater, blue-green light can penetrate to certain depths. By emitting laser pulses and analyzing the reflected signals, it may be possible to detect objects beneath the surface. While challenges remain, such as distinguishing between submarines and natural marine life, the potential of this approach is significant. Looking ahead, quantum technologies may represent the next frontier. Devices based on superconducting quantum interference, or SQUIDs, are capable of detecting extremely subtle magnetic fields. When deployed as part of a network, such sensors could dramatically enhance the ability to locate submarines, even those designed to minimize their magnetic signatures. This points toward a future in which detection is no longer dependent on a single breakthrough, but on the integration of multiple advanced technologies working in concert. Taken together, these developments suggest that the balance between stealth and detection is entering a new phase. Submarines remain extraordinarily difficult to find, but the margin of invisibility is narrowing. As detection technologies become more sophisticated, they are forcing a corresponding evolution in submarine design and operational doctrine. This dynamic interplay, innovation met by counter-innovation, has defined military competition throughout history, and the undersea domain is no exception. In the next part, we will explore how these emerging detection capabilities could fundamentally reshape submarine warfare, potentially challenging the very notion of undersea invisibility and redefining the strategic calculus for naval powers around the world. For decades, submarines ruled the ocean in silence. But here's what's really changing. They're no longer as invisible as they once were. Instead, it is a rapidly accelerating cycle of adaptation, where each technological breakthrough on one side compels an equally sophisticated response on the other. What is unfolding today is not the end of submarine stealth, but rather its transformation under mounting pressure from a new generation of detection capabilities that extend far beyond traditional acoustic methods. One of the most consequential shifts lies in the growing maturity of non-acoustic detection technologies. For decades, anti-submarine warfare depended overwhelmingly on sound. Today, however, researchers and defense institutions are exploring ways to detect submarines through entirely different physical principles. Among these, magnetic detection remains one of the most established yet still evolving approaches. Even with advanced degaussing techniques, a submarine's metallic hull inevitably interacts with the Earth's magnetic field. This interaction creates localized disturbances, subtle but measurable. Traditional magnetic anomaly. Detection systems have long been deployed on maritime patrol aircraft, but their range limitations have constrained their effectiveness. With the integration of more sensitive instruments, including quantum-based sensors, this limitation may gradually diminish, opening the door to wider area magnetic surveillance. Equally compelling is the study of hydrodynamic signatures. A submarine moving through water does not pass without consequence. It disturbs the surrounding medium in ways that can propagate far beyond the vessel itself. When operating near the surface or at higher speeds, submarines generate wave patterns that may be detectable by radar systems from aircraft or satellites. While such signals can be masked by environmental conditions like wind and natural ocean turbulence, advances in data processing and pattern recognition are improving the ability to distinguish meaningful anomalies from background noise. In parallel, internal ocean waves, oscillations occurring beneath the surface, can carry signatures that, when interpreted correctly, reveal the presence of submerged objects. thermal detection represents another frontier that is steadily gaining traction. The ocean is a thermally stratified environment, meaning that layers of water at different temperatures coexist with relatively limited mixing under normal conditions. A submarine, particularly one in motion, disrupts this balance by blending colder, deeper water with warmer surface layers. The result is a faint thermal trail that, under certain circumstances, can be detected using infrared sensors. While the temperature differences involved are minimal, the increasing sensitivity of modern imaging systems, combined with advanced analytical algorithms, enhances the feasibility of this method. It is not a standalone solution, but as part of a broader sensor fusion framework, it becomes significantly more valuable. Among the most discussed emerging technologies is the application of blue-green laser systems. Unlike most wavelengths of light, which are rapidly absorbed by seawater, blue-green light can penetrate to moderate depths. This property allows for the possibility of using laser pulses to scan beneath the ocean surface. By measuring the time it takes for light to reflect back to a sensor, it is theoretically possible to determine the presence and depth of submerged objects. However, this technique faces notable challenges, including signal attenuation, scattering, and the difficulty of distinguishing between artificial objects and natural marine life. Despite these limitations, continued investment in this area suggests that it may become an increasingly important component of future detection strategies. Beyond individual technologies, perhaps the most transformative development is the concept of integrated sensor networks. Modern anti-submarine warfare is moving toward a model in which data from multiple sources, sonar arrays, satellites, unmanned systems, and environmental sensors, are combined into a unified operational picture. This approach leverages advances in data fusion, artificial intelligence, and real-time communication to overcome the limitations of any single detection method. Instead of relying on a definitive signal, analysts can correlate multiple weak indicators to build a probabilistic assessment of submarine presence and movement. In such a system, even a highly stealthy submarine may find it increasingly difficult to remain completely undetected over extended periods. Unmanned systems are central to this evolution. Unmanned underwater vehicles can patrol vast areas autonomously, deploying sensors and relaying data without risking human crews. Similarly, aerial drones can provide persistent surveillance over key maritime regions, acting as force multipliers for traditional naval assets. These platforms enable a level of coverage and endurance that would be impractical with manned systems alone. As their capabilities continue to expand, they are likely to become indispensable elements of the anti-submarine toolkit. Detecting a submarine is one thing, tracking it consistently is another. And this has massive consequences, because submarines are the backbone of nuclear deterrence. At the strategic level, these technological trends are reshaping how nations think about undersea dominance. Submarines have long been considered the most survivable leg of the nuclear triad, precisely because of their ability to remain hidden. If that invisibility is compromised, even partially, the implications for deterrence are profound. A submarine that can be tracked is a submarine that can be targeted, and this introduces new uncertainties into the strategic calculus of nuclear-armed states. It may also drive changes in deployment patterns, with submarines operating in more protected or geographically complex environments to mitigate detection risks. At the same time, submarine designers are not standing still. In response to these emerging threats, new approaches to stealth are being explored. These include further reductions in acoustic signatures, the use of advanced materials with lower magnetic properties, and even concepts aimed at minimizing hydrodynamic disturbances. Some research is focused on biomimicry, designing submarines that move more like marine animals, thereby blending more naturally into the ocean environment. Others are investigating active countermeasures, such as systems that can generate false signals or otherwise confuse detection technologies. Another dimension that cannot be overlooked is the growing importance of the seabed itself. As global reliance on undersea infrastructure, such as fiber optic communication cables and energy pipelines, continues to expand, the ocean floor is becoming a critical domain of both economic and military interest. Submarines are uniquely suited to operate in this environment, whether for surveillance, protection, or disruption. Consequently, monitoring activities on and near the seabed is becoming a priority for many nations. This has led to increased investment in seabed sensor networks and specialized platforms designed for deep-sea operations. Interestingly, the democratization of technology is also playing a role in this evolving landscape. Commercial satellite imagery, synthetic aperture radar, and even publicly available data sources are enabling open-source analysts to track and study submarine activities with a level of detail that was once the exclusive domain of classified intelligence agencies. This shift does not eliminate the advantage of state actors, but it does introduce new dynamics in terms of transparency and information sharing. In some cases, seemingly innocuous data, such as social media posts or fitness tracking information, has inadvertently revealed patterns related to military operations, highlighting the challenges of maintaining operational security in a connected world. We've seen new sensors, new technologies, and new strategies. So what does all of this mean? It means submarines are no longer untouchable. Submarines will remain stealthy, but not undetectable. Detection systems will improve, but not to the point of perfect certainty. The outcome will depend on how effectively each side integrates technology, tactics, and intelligence into a cohesive strategy. In this sense, the undersea domain is becoming a complex, multi-layered environment where success depends on adaptability as much as on technological superiority. In conclusion, the notion that submarines are impossible to detect is increasingly an oversimplification. They remain among the most elusive assets in any military arsenal, but the gap between hiding and finding is narrowing. As new technologies emerge and existing ones are refined, the balance of power beneath the waves will continue to shift, shaping the future of naval warfare in ways that are only beginning to be understood. So the question is, are submarines still invisible? Or are we entering a new era where nothing can truly hide beneath the ocean? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the Strategy Scope channel for more in-depth analyses, and feel free to leave your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Your engagement helps drive the conversation forward.